Hi Gemini, Happy New Year and welcome to your 2016 forecast. This can be a really big year for you, and it doesn't mean that everything will work out, but just because it doesn't work out doesn't mean it's a big flop. There's tremendous power for you for spiritual growth and development. And this energy about success for you, that's going to be your foundation, is understanding your subconscious mind, your unconscious, which is really, it's unconscious. How do you understand it? You understand it through wisdom that comes from places that are not normally accessible. So the subconscious, you can go through, it's okay, let me remember, do some self-hypnosis, regress yourself back to an early time in childhood, understand things. But there's another part about knowing things that you never knew that you didn't know. That energy's all of this is being activated. And it's with the Mercury retrogrades. And that's how the new year begins. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel because you'll never find me again the way Google has me on the bottom of the list. Thanks. So the year begins, all the planets moving direct, and then on the 4th of January, Mercury goes retrograde in Capricorn. So Mercury going retrograde in Capricorn, and it's not about, Mercury's your ruling planet. It's going to go retrograde 4 times this year instead of the usual 3 times, all in earth signs, and you're an air sign. So this is why, the way it's connected to your chart is why I'm saying there's a lot of spiritual growth and growth about understanding your subconscious. There's other reasons too. But with the Mercury going retrograde on the 4th of the year, it's not about not starting something new, but it can be about starting something new that you'll want to go back to, or that you wouldn't want to do every day of the next year. You wouldn't want to fast every day of the next year, right? Unless you're a breatharian. So there could be several things that are very appropriate to start under this Mercury retrograde that begins the year, especially because 3 days later we have Jupiter going retrograde. And when a planet goes retrograde or direct, it's what's called stationed. It's at its most powerful beam of that energy beaming down onto the planet. So it has strength then. And Jupiter is about expansion. There are a couple of times this year that are very strong with this Jupiter energy for you. And especially if you were born around, the 13th or the 14th or the 20th, that will be, the Jupiter will be more powerful for you. And what does Jupiter more powerful for you? If you were born around June 13th, June 14th, what that means is that if you wanted to get a job, you could start a new job. If you wanted to travel, good time to travel. If you wanted to move, it's this moving energy. But more than anything, and this can be true for all Geminis, it's more of a sense of expanding your consciousness and confidence. Now, I'm not trying to say that it's going to be a piece of cake for everybody, because we do have Neptune Saturn square, we have Saturn Jupiter square. And this energy, what it means is that there can be some confusion about manifesting your dreams, or some conflict between what you're thinking about and what you're able to do. This will be more true for you if you were born the 3rd, the 4th, or the 5th. So you may find that, more true for you. Is like, and also, if you don't have a clear idea, then it can be a little bit more frustrating, because ultimately it's about having a clear idea of your vision and then being able to put the effort into it and know what effort's needed to be able to manifest your vision. Now, as we move through this year, okay, so we're coming up to March is a very powerful time, a lot of energy being activated. We have the solar eclipse that's happening in March 8th. We have the a lunar eclipse on March 23rd, which is the day of that Saturn Jupiter square that I mentioned, that you could feel very strong, powerful about. It's like, I have all these hopes and dreams, but how do I make them happen? Why are these obstacles here? And it's about discerning or figuring out, well, what is it that am I really clear about my vision? And am I willing to put the work into my vision? Now, on the 25th of March, Saturn is going retrograde in Sagittarius opposite your sign. And that can be where you struggle a little bit or feel a little bit, oh gosh, why is life difficult? Why can't I just win the lottery? Or why can't this just fall into place for me? But it also symbolizes that there may be something else to learn, something else to know, in order for you to manifest the dreams that you have. And if you were born on the 13th, again, this could be a time where you might feel the energy a little bit stronger, 13th or 14th, about this pressure. I have internal pressure, is wanting to overcome obstacles, or that obstacles could be there in your way and you're figuring out what to do. Now, some of these obstacles, because it's an opposite your sign, may come from other people. And what I mean by that is like, the universe is asking you to look at the other people in your life and see if they are supporting your dreams or if they're hindering you in some way. And it's not to get rid of your friends. It's not to like dump people out of your life, but it is about being honest with yourself about how you feel. And not everybody needs to think the same way you think. After all, that can be exciting, different ideas popping up. But if somebody is always like blocking, you feel blocked. If you feel blocked because of another person's negativity, or how another person's lead their life, or if they're just not good for you, they pull you into doing things that afterwards you're like, oh my God, should I really have spent that money? Should I really have done this? Then there's a little bit of taking a look at that. Like I said, it's at the end of March, and it goes into April when Mars goes retrograde in Sagittarius, the same sign that Saturn goes retrograde in, April 16th. And if you were born around May 1st, then you will feel this little bit of more of a protective energy or irritation energy more than other people. It's like, get out of my way, just leave me alone. Just let me be who I am. But it's also a motivation energy. It's also a time to really feel like, okay, I gotta get going. I really need to make things happen in my life. So taking action in the middle of April. Part of it can be in relationships, lover type things. But it's more than just that. It is the bigger picture of life, about taking action, because the larger message is envisioning your dreams and working towards them in spite of the obstacles that could be presented from the practical world issues. If I had more money, I'd move. That's a practical world issue. Some of you are magicians, right? You are ruled by Mercury. And so Mercury's the trickster, it's a magician in a way. Maybe can manifest being able to get friends, their vehicle and help out. You won't need that much money, but there is that practical side that Saturn energy can come in. So there's this large vision. The months that will be most significant for you because you are Mercury ruled, will be that January month, then again end of April, May, and that's a time just to go over, really develop the spiritual groundedness. And then again in September time. And that can be a time where you really feel that you're beginning to push forward and make things happen and start to deliver. Feel as if life is beginning to deliver on some of your hopes and your dreams and your desires that you are connected with, you are hoping for. In September also, Jupiter moves out of Virgo and into Libra. Now, Jupiter in Libra is an air sign. You're an air sign. There's a positive flow there. And Jupiter going into Libra is sensing or giving you the opportunity for your love life to be more peaceful and harmonious. Because there was, with that with that Mars retrograde opposite your sign, there could have been some antagonistic, do I want to, do I not want to, energy that's going on either if you are in a committed relationship, or if you've been dating different people, or maybe several, go out this, and no, go out this version, no. By September, with Jupiter going into Libra, like finally, not somebody you always have to struggle with or argue with. And also just having more fun in life. Being able to say, okay, it's my time to have a little bit more fun here. As we close, moving towards the end of 2016, November, we have Neptune moving direct. And Neptune moving direct on the 19th of November, again, if your birthday's more towards May 30th, May 31st, you still might be a little bit in that Neptune confusion, what is it that I really want phase. Sometimes you don't really have to have the answer, even though we want the answer. It's about experiencing life and letting life unfold and trying new things. Not to feel like you have to concrete. It's like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. This is what I absolutely know. If you were born around the 30th, 31st, even May 1st, May 2nd, and you still feel a little bit of that Neptune fog, it will lift eventually. And it is about use the energy in a positive way, because this can be this tremendous spiritual growth this year. Develop, learn tarot, learn astrology, meditate, do yoga, whatever your heart speaks to. There's so much. You could do breath work, you could, anything that speaks to you, reading, and artistic talent, develop your creativity. Yeah. The end of November, we have Jupiter square Pluto. And, Jupiter, Pluto, all the aspects always go back to the conjunction. Like you hear about new moons, start a new thing, full moon, you'll see it. Well, the conjunction of Jupiter, Pluto was in 2007, and it started in Sagittarius, 28 degrees of Sagittarius, which is the galactic center, which means, think about it. It's how do you center yourself? What's the center? But Jupiter, Pluto want things big. What big thing do I want to do in my life? What's my big, like sometimes you might think of it as a once in a lifetime experience, or my mark. What do I want to do? And the square energy at the end of November is activating that. What is it that I want to do? What's my one big dream? And then at the end of December, we got Jupiter opposite Uranus. And that conjunction happened in 2010. It happened 3 times, 2010 and 2011. And one of the conjunctions was at 0 degrees of Aries, very important part of the zodiac. Being true to yourself, being freedom, so strong. And how are you doing with being that big thing that or your once in a life dream, or your big mark that you want to make in life? and that's authentically yours in Vig. So tremendous energy this year, Gemini, for you. Develop your spiritual awareness, spiritual power. Get focused, and being able to, when you do that, being able to move towards the manifestation of that larger context, that larger dream. Thanks so much, and please let me know what you think. Comment below, and I appreciate it. Have a great new year.